to another episode of the E-Reads podcast. My name is Liz. I am a therapist, author, and creative wellness coach. And this is my podcast where I talk about wellness and creativity with my friends, readers, authors, creatives of many virtues so that we can create well, right? We can improve our creativity and our wellness. And today I have Olivia Gaines that's going to join me on the show. And we're talking about how to use journaling to improve our creativity and improve our wellness. And you may see something new in the video here on Instagram Live where you will see a link to Olivia's journaling group. She's nearly at 70,000 folks, and I think we can get her there. So if you're watching this, make sure to tap the link so that you can subscribe. Before I bring Olivia up, let me tell you about some of the updates and announcements. So June is here. I am starting my Kickstarter and I have 30 days to reach my goal of $1,000 to fund the audiobook of Chasing Nightmares. And so make sure that any purchase that you do is through the Kickstarter so that it can go to fund this project if you are interested. Yay, we see some folks here in the chat. Please let me know if you have any questions. And I'm going to bring up Olivia now. Everyone.
Hello,
Hello.
how are you?
I'm well. Good morning. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you well. Good morning. Good morning. Is it
Good
raining where
morning.
you are?
It's overcast, but it's okay. I'm in Georgia, and
Ah,
yeah.
up here in Connecticut, we've had rain for like 3 days.
Oh, wow.
Wishing for the sun, just looking and peeking.
Well, where I am, when the sun comes out, you're like getting cooked. So you're like, it could take its time, you know.
Listen, I'm so glad to have you on. For those who don't know, well, actually, before I go into that, Olivia, please introduce yourself to the folks.
Hi, I'm Olivia Gaines. I'm a USA Today best-selling author of contemporary romances laced with heart and humor. I write action adventure stories of a man and a woman finding their way to love. And I am an avid and prolific journaler. I love to
Oh.
journal.
Where did that start? Because we met through journaling. You did
Yes.
this author journaling project, and it was profound. Like, I'm always telling people to journal, how it's a great way of connecting with yourself. But in being dedicated to it for that year, it was so overwhelmingly beautiful to see the growth, to pour yourself out on the page. And I think it really helped my writing that year. So, how did you get into journaling?
Well, let me back up a little bit and kind of expand on what you're talking about that
Yeah.
there. It was the 100 Authors Project. We pulled together 100 authors and we did a day in the life of an author, and we sent the journals to the American Diary Project. The American Diary Project, they collect journals from all over the US and they catalog them and kind of create this database, this archive, this library that you can go into. So if you're ever in the area in Ohio and you want to see those journals, they are there on the shelf so you can walk in and see them. Now, I started journaling during the pandemic. I was still working at the
Really?
yes, I was working at the public library, and we had so many people just didn't know where to put all of those emotions because we didn't know what was happening. There were
Mm-hmm.
so many people passing. We were scared to leave the house. We didn't know what supplies we needed. We didn't know if this was going to be an apocalyptic event or what
Yep.
it was. So we started an online journaling group, and it has morphed into 70 nearly 70,000 people worldwide. And it was me, a couple of librarians, a lady out of New Mexico, and we just kept it up. And I started working on getting my certifications to make sure that what I was offering to the public was therapeutic and beneficial in their journaling process.
Oh, that's wonderful. Can you speak a little bit to the therapeutic process? Again, like, um, I understand like the clinical side of it, but can you break it down for folks of how can journaling be healing?
Sometimes you need someone to talk to, and you need somewhere to put these wayward thoughts or your outside voice that makes an appearance when it shouldn't. And Journaling gives you an opportunity to sit down and put it on paper. You often hear people start therapy, and therapists will tell them to write a letter to your younger self. With journaling, you can take out 15 minutes, 5 minutes, 2 minutes a day to check in with yourself and say, okay,
Mhm.
how am I doing today? And you can wake up some days and, like, mama ain't all here. And a
That's
couple of
right.
cups of coffee is not going to get it. And you're like, okay, what do I need to do? Have I eaten anything green? When was the last time I ate something orange or something yellow? How has my water intake been? And when you start looking at those little things that make up the composition of who you are, you can start to track habits and patterns that can even make you feel better and make you more creative.
Oh, I love that. So many great nuggets, right? About that check-in. For so many
Yes,
people, it's hard to check in. There's so much noise, the to-do list, everyone else's needs. And I think journaling, like you're saying, is a great way to see you on the page,
yes,
to say, like, oh, wait a minute, I've been complaining about my job all week long. What can I do to change it? Oh, I haven't been eating. And I love that it is a place for you to be honest with you.
yes.
And I'm curious, have people ever struggled with that? Like, as you're working with people, do people struggle with being honest in their journaling pages?
People struggle with being honest with themselves in person, let alone on paper.
Mm-hmm.
And the hardest person to be honest with is yourself, because we have some self limiting behaviors. We have some toxic behaviors, not only to ourselves, but to people in our lives. And there are people in our lives that are toxic to us,
Yeah.
but we don't know how to step away from it. And we have these triggers. There are certain things that people can say to me, and I don't care how professional I feel. I will go from hello to ghetto in 3 seconds and eat you alive.
Come on.
Because I mean, we all have those triggers. But if you take the time and really pay attention to what those triggers are, you'll notice that the people on your job, while you're always upset, they know what your triggers are too. And all it
Yeah,
takes is just one person to come along and take that pen and they
that's
sit
so
back
right.
and watch you crash out. But once you start writing it down and you're like, okay, it's 10:05, here comes Carol from accounting with her BS.
Yep.
And when she walks into your cubicle, you give her that, and all of a sudden you've taken all of that energy that she was bringing to you and you've just deflated it. And she just, well, never mind. Darn straight, Carol, take your butt on back over there and count your pennies. Leave me alone. Today ain't the
Absolutely.
day.
Yeah, but if you don't slow down to build that awareness, to check in, you never know that, you never
You never
see
know.
that. And like, absolutely. And I'm curious if there's someone listening who maybe struggles with being honest with themselves, either on the page or in person. Like, what can they do? What's a journaling prompt or a journaling exercise that they can start with?
Good morning. Today I feel.
Oh,
Plain and simple. Draw yourself a little circle and make a happy face, a sad face, a face, but just kind of check in with yourself. And there are some mornings when you wake up, you're sitting up mentally, but your body is still on the bed because you're
yeah.
trying to figure out what's hurting. And the older you get, the more you have to check in with your body to make sure everything is going to move in the
Hmm.
direction you want to go in. So you just kind of have to check in with yourself.
Oh, I love that. And I love that it is simple. Just
Hmm.
hello, I feel, right? And I
Yes.
think sometimes we think with journaling. So like I like the journaling when we have the supplies, the stickers, all of that, but we don't have to we don't have to start there.
Don't get me started. You
I have
see how
so many
small I
journaling
have the frame in, right? I don't
I
even
have
want
so
you to
many
see
supplies.
the number of pens, the number of markers, but I came prepared. You can start as simple as this. This fits into your purse, and all you need to do is just have something with you to jot down. Because as authors, we are constantly character shopping.
Yes.
Yes, especially in coffee shops. You see the couple come in and you see her body language and you know she's mad at him. And you're sitting there, well, what is she mad about?
Yeah.
And you're sitting there and you start to make notes about her hair. And when they come to the table, whether her arms are crossed, or her legs are crossed. It'll tell you whether or not, okay, I'm mad at him or we're going to get out of here real soon.
I like to watch couples and how they walk, like who's in front, who's on the side, who's
Yes, yes, yes. But having a journal with you, you can make those notes. And sometimes when you're sitting in a coffee shop, you'll hear the names called out, and there's one or two names, and you're like, oh, oh, she's going to be my next hero. Okay, how did they spell that again? And you're sitting
I
there, and
yeah.
yeah, you're collecting character names.
Yeah, as you're talking, I love how journaling keeps you curious. It always keeps you just your brain is so open. And
Yes.
I'm curious, how has that helped your writing process? So you started journaling during the pandemic, how has that shifted or not shifted your writing process?
I am a plotter. I can't write from the seat of my pants. I have to know what's going on. So I've always been a scribbler. I have journals and series Bibles for all of my
Do
series.
you?
Yes, I do. I have all of the photos that I've printed out. I even go as far as to have the floor plan of the
Oh, I
house
love it.
that they live in because if I'm writing him coming out of the bedroom, making a left, going down the hallway, I don't want down in chapter 9 that he's coming out the bedroom and going right, or if
That's
it's an
right.
ensuite, so I have to have those kind of notes. And journaling in itself kind of takes me out of my head for a moment because
Mm.
when you're writing, you have all of these people in your head talking to you. And then you have the person that you're living with that wants like dinner. Like, get on dinner. you know? And you just have to
Yes.
take a moment and just aren't we all adults? Can't we, we're gonna go out because I've been writing all day and I just don't have it in me to stand behind a stove, you know.
Absolutely, absolutely. Oh, I love that. And I love how journaling leads to inspiration and like it
Yes.
gives you something to pull from. Has journaling ever got you out? Well, like if you have like writer's block or go through a writer's slump, has journaling ever helped you to get out of that place?
With stickers, washi tape, pieces of scraps. Oh, don't even let me just
Pl- Okay, please show us. Please
okay.
show the
Okay,
journal
okay,
girlies and the journal
okay.
guys what you got.
Okay.
Oh, we love it.
Isn't that gorgeous? And then they flip open. Um, and each journal is different. And I just my little I know it's just so crazy. Like this is one of those color swatches from from Lowe's. I've made it into.
What made you say I need a color swatch?
I was looking at the color palette for the book cover.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's smart.
And so I would have those so I could get the hex codes and things.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I'll take like buttons.
Oh,
That's a
little
button
froggy.
with glue and a paper clip to make a bookmark. So
Have
those
you
little
always been a creative person? Like, has this come easy or did you have to grow into this?
I was a stay-at-home mom for the first couple of years, married to an enlisted soldier. And so, yeah, money was tight, and having to get creative with meals and just not lose myself,
Mm,
using my name to become his wife and
yeah.
Chucky's mother, you know. Because you walk into somewhere and it's either it's so and so's wife or oh here
Yep.
comes Chucky's mother. I have a name.
Mm-hmm.
So I always found things to create, and it was much
Yeah.
later when I started writing, after I had been teaching for so long. And he's like, you may as well, you've been teaching people to write. When are you going to start writing? And so I looked at some of the journals and some of the ideas that I had been jotting down for story ideas. And I started pulling it together and said, okay, we could do this.
Mm. Yeah, as you were speaking, you were saying, you needed a way to not lose yourself, and I think that's so
Yes.
important.
Yes.
People when they're in relationships sometimes can lose themselves, whether you're parenting, you just get into a, well, let me decrease so that everything can run smoothly. And
Right.
there's consequences to that. Even in terms of writing, of like, you're like, well, what do I want to do? You're like looking at other people, what should I do? All of
Mhm.
these different things. For folks who maybe are struggling with reconnecting with themselves,
Mhm.
what journaling prompts or exercises would you give to them?
I would start with just a daily check-in. One, start with a food blog. Just kind of start with a food log and just kind of see what you're putting in. And then kind of look at your movement. How often are you moving? What are you moving? What are you reading? Because we always think about nutrition for our bodies, but we don't think about nutrition for our brains.
Oh, I
You
love
have
that.
to you have to feed your brain as well, and you have to give your brain good food also. And then, how often are you turning off the TV? How often are you going out for a walk? When was the last time you picked up a magazine and sat
Mm,
with the magazine and a cup of coffee or a cup of tea and
mm-hmm.
just took that moment and brought it down? And that's the thing. You need a moment to bring it down. It used to be in when people were married, the husband, he would stop at the bar before he
Yep.
came home because that was his way of leaving the office, shifting his mind to go home and close out this box. I'm going to sit in this box for an hour and then I'm going to go home and open that box. And it's the same thing with your life. There are different boxes that you are existing in. And you have to realize that there's a time to close some of those lids. You don't need every lid open at the same time consecutively all the time. Some of the lids need to be closed just so you can have a moment to kind of clear the air and clear that space.
Yeah, yeah. As you're talking about like closing the lid, I think about like how many times you hear folks say, like, I sat down to write and I just couldn't do it. I had so much on my mind. Well, like, how
Right.
do you think you can go from like working to just writing brain, and you haven't given yourself space to close? And I can imagine sitting down and journaling for 5 or 10 minutes to just
Hmm.
get your brain in the cycle of play and creativity can help that writing session go a lot smoother. And so I'm definitely going to take that as a practice to close out before I start something else.
Yes. And that's the thing. You have to give yourself a moment to, okay, I've completed this task before I go on to something else. We have been conditioned as women to feel like we have to juggle it all at once.
Yeah.
No, you don't.
Mm-hmm.
And you have the right to say no. And no is a complete sentence. You don't have to
Mm-hmm.
qualify it. You don't have to quantify it. I don't feel like it. I hit a certain magical age last year, and it was almost freeing because I made the conscious decision of no. Are you coming? No.
No. Love it.
Well, no. And I'm done with it. And I'm moving on to something else that I want to do, that I want to enjoy. Because as much as we don't like to think about our own limitations, we don't know how long we have.
That's right.
I'm not going to waste it spending time with people who are not bringing me joy.
1000%.
I'm
Listen, that's a
serious.
journal prompt. Who are the people and the places that bring you joy and what take it? That, listen.
Exactly. Because there are a lot of emotional vampires out there that will come and just drain you for all you're worth and then go blame you for being unhappy.
Ooh, come on, that's a word.
Hey, hey, it has been a journey. It really has. This year, we have five journaling challenges for the group because the group is so large. We started off the year,
Yes.
yeah, we started off the year with February with the creativity challenge.
Okay, wait, tell us
Yeah,
about that.
yes,
Walk us
yes,
through the
yes,
because I'm
yes,
like, oh, wait a minute. Okay. Because
yes,
I
yes,
just joined
yes.
the group, y'all. So I'm ready for my challenge. Okay.
We started off. We have one journal. There are two different journals. Okay, we have one journal that we're going to use for the whole year. The
Okay.
February challenge, it was a creativity challenge. And we started off just learning different journaling techniques, like doing Dutch
Oh,
doors,
nice. Yeah,
Yeah, layered pages, um, stacking, washi tape.
yeah.
Yeah, just blowing it all out, one color palettes. And you had 2 days per challenge. So it was 14 challenges in all. April, we did one line a day. So you can use the same journal all year long. And our June challenge starts June 1st. And we're going to start with some poetry. And
Nice.
as I was putting it together, the pages are so beautiful that you can print them out and put them in your journal. And it just makes this beautiful, beautiful, it's just going to be a beautiful project. And because I have so many people from all around the world, a lot of the visuals and the graphics are from all over the world. You know, I have the London Bridge with a
Oh,
coffee
nice.
mug with Union Jack on it with beans and toast. um, my latest story, Micah, is set in Colombia, so there is the market in Cartagena that I've included as well, and it's just taking moments to actually connect with the words.
Yeah.
And at the end, it's going to be a literary journal because
Oh,
we're exploring a lot of things, moments to check in with yourself, moments to it, just describe the beauty of a sunrise or a sunset.
you're
Uh,
encouraging people to slow down in a world that's so busy
that
and takes up. Oh, that's so wonderful.
that's exactly what it is. It's just slowing down, taking 5, 10 minutes a day, and just capturing that moment. And I know people are going to see the poetry and they're going to be like, poetry, ah!" But you can write 3 lines. You can write a haiku. You know, it's no big deal. And then we're just going to keep building on it each day. And like I said, the graphics are so beautiful. The prompts are beautiful. And you can just print them out. I have sized them to A5. So you'll be able to print them out and just glue them directly in your journal and then write on the page underneath it. And so you'll have this beautiful, at the end of the year, a beautiful finished product because we have June. It's because it's basically 30 days, has
Mm-hmm.
September, April, June, and
Mm-hmm.
November. So those are the months along with February. And at the end of the year, this is a beautiful journal that you've completed.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so many thoughts. So one
So
is,
many
I think
thoughts.
this is super great. I think it's super great for folks who maybe are like, struggling with finishing things, right? Like, "Oh, I
Yes,
can't ever finish things." Like, because you're doing it with a group, it's very low pressured. Like
yes,
it's you carving out these small opportunities for progress. And like that same muscle is what you use when you're writing a book, doing art,
yes,
music,
yes, yes,
small steps. You don't need to do it all. You don't write all your whole book in one day. You do it over time. And so
yes.
I love that you're giving people that muscle. But also some questions in case people are like, is it too late to join? So if someone's
No,
like,
no, 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 no,
okay, they
no, no,
can
no.
join now. They could
We
join in the
we
middle
don't
of June.
we don't actually start until June 1st.
Good.
I
Okay.
like for people to come on into the group, take a look around. All of next week, I'll have little tidbits. You know, I've already posted the supply list. Make sure you've got your
Okay.
markers, you've got your washi tape, you have your journal. If you're not using the journal that you have, if you have a new journal, so we've got the supply list
Honey,
already
listen, I
listed.
need an excuse to get a new journal. So
Just So that's why I'm making them, let's use the same journal for the year for the 5 challenges. That way you can also see your progress because this is supposed to be my reading library here.
yeah.
And when you open it up, see that?
Yeah.
That gorgeous? Yeah. So we played with all kinds of techniques. And even if you're not interested in doing the June challenge, we do have daily prompts in the
Nice.
group that you can come in and you can play around with. This month we were doing a word a day. And you
Mm.
can, yeah, you can go to like dictionary.com and get a word a day and just, what does this word mean to me? How does this word make me feel?
Oh, I
I don't
love
know how to
it.
pronounce this word, you know. And I think I just use simple words like stop, start, loathe, speak, sit, those kinds of words, just to kind of it's really not that complicated.
Got it. And so my next question is, what if someone's like, I've never journaled before, I'm new to journaling. Do I have to
Mhm.
be an expert?
Oh gosh, no. Oh no. And I hate when people associate journaling with brain dumping. That I'm just so traumatized that I got to write down every bad thing that ever happened to
Mm.
me in my life. Even Ice Cube, at the height of his rap career, wrote a rap about having a good day. Yes. Yeah, because he said gangsters have good days too,
I love it.
And that's the thing. You have to, it's so easy to focus on the negative. But if you've got a roof over your head and you've got something to eat, you're ahead of a lot of people who are just trying to
Absolutely.
figure out every day what the next meal is going to be or how they're going to get it. And I want people to just take a moment to be grateful for what you have and how far you've come. You ain't where you want to be, but you're not where you was, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And some
Absolutely.
and sometimes you have to stop and be grateful for that.
I love that. And before I ask you about your books and your writing process, what are some unique journaling or like journaling habits? So like for instance, I learned about recipe journaling through you and again that author challenge and how we
Hmm.
can do that. What are some we'll say non-traditional. So instead of like, brain dumping, writing, what are other journals that you've seen people do?
I've seen art journals.
Oh,
I've
what's
seen
that?
But you just, if you're an artist or you like to sketch or you doodle, you just have a journal that you just doodle and you use watercolors in it. I've seen people where they do nature journaling and observation journaling, where you go to the park and you see a bird in a tree and you kind of do your best to sketch the bird or you write down the sound of the bird. Um, there's reading journals, habit trackers. There are a lot of people that track their habits. A lot of women track their bodily
Mm-hmm.
processes. They track their sleep. They track their eating. There's just so many things that you can do. A dream journal, you know. Anything that you've got going on in your life, you can make a journal. If you quilt, you can make a sewing journal or a crochet journal. All the things that are important to you, you can have a little book for it.
Yeah, and again, as you're saying that, it's a great way of giving yourself permission to take up space with the things that you love, which again
Yes,
is so important when you're writing, right? To like, what is the story you want to tell? What is speaking to you? Like you giving yourself that permission to be free. I
right.
love how journaling builds that habit.
Yes.
Absolutely. And so speaking about writing, please tell us about what are the stories you're working on and things like that. How's writing been?
Writing has been absolutely fantastic.
Yay.
I gave myself permission to slow down.
Oh, tell us about that. Because that can be
Honey,
hard for folks. I know sometimes it's hard for me.
it can be hard, it can be difficult. I took myself out of the circuit. I was not doing any book signings. I was not doing any speaking engagements for the last 2 years. I went to a conference this year and I took no books.
Wow.
I
Yeah, that
know,
you
I
really are like
know.
slowing down. You're just like, slow
I
down.
I went to lunch with some readers.
Ooh,
I
fun.
I know, right? I sat in the lobby with a cocktail and I was just and they're like, Olivia. I'm like, you know, and when it came to the book signing, I walked around to everybody else's table taking pictures, and they're like, "You don't have a table?"
You're like, no.
Mhm. And while they were still in there, I went on back to the room and I found something on HBO and I put my feet up.
Oh, I love this.
And then me and the conference organizer, I walked back down and she's like, "These things are going well." I said, "You know what we ought to do?" She's like, "What?" I said, "Let's go to the beach." And we walked down to the beach and we put our feet in the water. And she said, as often as I have this conference, I've actually never come down to the beach.
Wow.
I know.
Hmm.
And so being able to take that step back, um, I've already won like 2 awards this year for the stories because I've taken the time to really feel the
Mm.
characters, you know? And Micah has been this series has been 10 years. And so
Wow.
When they met this character, he was 9, going on 10. Yeah, and now he's 18. So it's been 10 years in real time.
Okay, so
Yes.
one, I love the concept of feeling your characters. Like I
Okay.
love characters. Characters are so important to my story. And I love the idea of a long series. How do you stay connected with your characters after so long? Is it easy? It sounds like there's some intentionality that you've done to stay connected.
Right. Now, we initially met his father in the Blakemore series in 2015. Nope, 2013, where he was the bad guy. And then
Oh.
I think in 2015, the father got his own story. Uh, Fast forward to 2020, the oldest son got 3 books. Okay. And then the goal was always to write Micah because Micah was neurodivergent. Yeah. And even though it's kind of a mafia kind of story, they all had bodyguards, but he, because he was neurodivergent, decided he wanted a female bodyguard that was his same age. And so
Mm.
he and his bodyguard have grown up together, you know.
Oh.
Yeah. And he's at the point now where his father needs to make him a match. But because of how
Mm.
his mind works, he is like the librarian for the cartel. He knows all the rules, you know. So he does the things that he's supposed to do, but his choice for his wife and his life partner has always been her, you
Oh,
know.
that's so good.
It really is. And because I know him so well, I was able to lean into it. And
Mm.
the neurodivergent people that I know, how they think, it was really, really fun to write because he makes a visit to a family friend who has an alternative lifestyle. And he's in the bed and he could hear his legs, his hair on his legs on the sheets, so he can't sleep. Wait. So the friend offers, well, I have some silk sheets. And he's like, are these the silk sheets you use for your sexy time? And I write it where his face, and he's just looking the guy up and down like, and he's like, I would not like to use those sheets. You know?
That little nuance only comes from
Yes,
intimately knowing your characters. That is so
yes,
beyond surface level. It's those little things, and I love
yes,
that. And I can see how journaling, like you building that habit of connecting with
yes, yes.
yourselves, makes it easier to develop that empathy with characters. I think that's so amazing.
And bringing it full circle, because it was 10 years, this one is a hardbound. And in the hardbound, in the back of it, I snapped pictures of all of my journaling notes from all of the series, even from the beginning where I was figuring out all the different countries and what snakes would what country. And all of those notes are in the back of the hardbound. So they'll actually see where I was figuring it out. And even the layout of Micah's story in my journal, it ended up being something totally different because what I was thinking is not the story he wanted me to tell. So I end up writing something totally different. But it happens, you know.
I love that, and I always feel so seen when authors say that. Especially,
Mhm.
you started, you said you're a plotter, and I love. Well, two thoughts. I love as a plotter, you still are very intentional with your characters. I think
Yes.
sometimes those conversations get separated. Like you can't be character driven and a plotter, but I love learning that you
Oh.
can put those together.
How
And
can
again,
you not be a plotter with character-driven stories? Because the character, he has to have that dark moment. He has to have that moment where the journey is starting and that point of no return. And how can you not have a plot? How can you not have that rise and fall? How can you not plot with a hero's journey? What are we talking?
because like
What are we talking?
I'm such a like, all right, what are we doing today with the characters, right? And like they'll just go. And sometimes I talk to like plotter friends. It's so about the structure and less about the character. And I'm just like, well, can we also talk about the character as we do? So it is very refreshing to hear how you think about the character's growth and the
Yes.
character's journey as you're plotting and storytelling. That is really fun to this character driven girly here.
Sometimes I'll hit a moment and I don't know where to go with the story. And I tell people, if you see me in Kroger talking to myself, leave me alone because I'm in character. And I'll get to the shelf and I'm like, okay, how does she shop? Is she eye
Yes.
level? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Is she top shelf? Is she bottom shelf for store brands? How does this character shop? Even if she has money, is she still here, here, or down here? And understanding that little bit for your character, does she leave her toothbrush uncovered in the bathroom? Or does it have a cover on it? You know what I'm saying? Little things like that make a big difference. And especially
And
when
tell
you're
us so much as the reader without you having to like explicitly tell us.
exactly. Because even after she brushes her teeth, is she rinsing it with cold water? Is she rinsing it with hot water? You know, hot water is going to make the bristles. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay. I love that. And again,
Yes.
like you're building that muscle through journaling and having that
Yes.
time to
Yes.
what are you doing? And that helps it so much easier to ask the question of what is your character doing? What is your story? What do you want your art to speak to people at? But
Right.
I think if you don't slow down and connect with you, it makes it a lot harder to
Exactly.
connect with these
Exactly.
pages.
And it also makes it difficult when you're writing someone of the opposite sex. I'm not a man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm
Mm-hmm.
married to one, and I'll go run ideas by him. But I also will sit and watch some of the things that he does and how he does them in his man space, in his manosphere. You know, how are you processing laundry?
Does he ever catch you watching him?
All the time. He's like, would you want some of this? I said, maybe. Don't tempt me.
Oh, Olivia, this has been wonderful getting connect with you, to connect with
Awesome.
journaling. Please tell us any upcoming events, stories. We know you have the journaling group and that's starting June
Right.
1st. I'm gonna get my supply list, but anything you want us to know before we close things out.
I have opened the vaults. Okay. I have opened the vaults and we're doing a summer of reading with Olivia. And I got a little logo, so you'll see the graphics and you'll see the logo on there. There are books that have been in KDP that have never been made available wide. There are things that have been wide that have never been available in Kindle Unlimited. I'm putting things in Kindle Unlimited that have never been available before. So if you've never read me, you've got an opportunity. Right now, because it was release week last week, I've got free books. I've been every Monday. There's a free book. There's a free book today.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that you can get this week if you haven't read me before. And then all summer long, every week, I'm putting something in KDP. I'm taking something wide. If you got a library card, you can get me in your local library. If you got Overdrive or Libby, any of that stuff, I'm making things available because we don't have any money to go anywhere. But I can take you on an adventure in the chair you're sitting in. So come on, read with me.
I love that. And it's a great reminder to change things up as like an entrepreneur, as an
Yes,
author,
yes,
to think about what are new ways of connecting with your reader. This
yes,
the same way as the what are the new ways to connect with yourself. And so like I super appreciate the reminders and the wellness that you
yes.
have given us in these last minutes.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much for having me. I've had a lot of fun.
Oh, absolutely. And listen, I can't wait to journal with you for the rest of the year. I'm going to get me a journal and I will
Great,
see
great,
all of
great.
y'all in the journaling group. Have a wonderful rest of your day, y'all.
Uh, Bye.
Bye.